Let's lecture on blood vessels. So your blood vessels, these are the transporters of blood. So the heart pumps the blood into the blood vessels, which carry the blood to your various organs, distribute things to them, and also to remove things from your various organs to be sent into your waste stream. So the blood vessels come in three types, all right? So this is your heart here. So it's the heart. Blood vessels that carry stuff from the heart, carried away from the heart. These blood vessels are called arteries. So arteries carry blood from the heart. Then those blood vessels will carry the blood into capillaries. These are exchange vessels called capillaries. Okay, so once the blood gets to your tissues, it doesn't flow out of the blood vessels into the tissue. It flows into capillaries, leaky blood vessels, where they can exchange, for example, bring in CO2, push O2 out into your tissue, push out glucose here, bring in your maybe your ammonia or your urea, things like NH3, comes in there. So you exchange things with the tissue in the capillaries, and then the tissue will is drained by veins, which bring the blood back to the heart. Okay. So arteries carried away, capillaries exchange, and then veins return that blood back to the heart. So those are your three types of blood vessels: arteries, capillaries, veins. Okay, let's look at this basic structure of your blood vessels. Doesn't matter what they are, arteries, capillaries, or veins. They have a certain structure in a structural anatomy about them. So let's see what it is. Let me erase this for a second. So you have, this is called your tunics. Tunics of your blood vessels, all right? So in the middle, the blood vessel, where the blood flows, this is called the lumen. Okay, that's what the blood flows through the lumen of the blood vessel. And then you have three layers around that lumen. So the first layer here, okay, we call it first layer is called your Tunica Intima. The first layer is your Tunica Intima. Okay. So the Tunica Intima has almost two layers to it. The innermost layer of it, the part that touches the blood, is called the endothelium. Okay, then you have a lamina behind it. So this innermost layer here that touches the blood, that inner layer here, this basically, it forms the lumen. This layer is your endothelium. Is the endothelium of the Tunica Intima. Next layer out, we get to the Tunica Media. So on this one, Tunica Media. Okay. That layer out here, this is your Tunica media. This layer contains some, it depends on what kind of vessel it is, but it has either or and elastic or elastin fibers, which give the blood vessel its ability to stretch and recoil. And it's also where you find your smooth muscle of the blood vessel. These are the muscles that squeeze the blood vessel. They're found in the tunica media. And then the last layer out here last layer out is your Tunica Externa. Tunica Externa. Okay, and that one used to anchor the blood vessel to its surroundings. And interestingly, it depends on how big it is. This outer layer also contains smaller blood vessels in it. So you may have you may have some veins there, some arteries there inside the Tunica Externa. So the collection of blood vessels inside the wall of the blood vessel, we call these your vasa vasorum. So the vasa vasorum is a part of the externa. It carries blood vessel, vasa vasorum, carries nutrients to the blood vessel walls, so the cells in the walls can stay alive. So those are the three layers, the three tunics of your blood vessel. The innermost Tunica Intima, the middle Tunica Media, the outermost Tunica Adventitia or Tunica Externa. Okay? Let's keep going. And then we'll next compare arteries to veins to see what's different about them. Just some quick comparisons. So arteries versus veins, okay? Let's look at lumen size. So for lumen size, meaning how wide the lumen is, the arteries have bigger lumen than veins, okay? Another factor is thickness, how thick the blood vessel is across, okay? Here again, arteries win this one. Arteries are thicker than veins. Another factor we can look at is which tunic is the thickest. So let's call that the thickest tunic. Thickest tunic. In this case, for the arteries, the thickest tunic is the tunica media. And for the veins, the thickest tunic is the tunica externa. All right, keep going with the comparison. So next we'll do valves. Which vessel contain valves? And here, only the veins contain valves. So veins only contain valves. No valves in arteries because the arteries already have the blood pressure behind them, the hearts, to push the blood out. The veins don't have the blood pressure, so they need valves to help to get the blood back in one direction towards the heart. In terms of blood pressure, just mentioned that. So blood pressure, just in arteries versus veins. So the pressure here, arteries have stronger pressure than veins. And the last thing we'll compare is the level of oxygen in the blood. So typically, blood in arteries have more oxygen than blood in veins. The only exception would be for your pulmonary system, where the pulmonary artery has less blood, less oxygen than the pulmonary vein. But otherwise, as a rule of thumb, arteries have more blood, more oxygen than venous blood. Okay, let's pause there.